we had Halloween. Now, by the way, before anyone out there starts to think that Halloween is something that's widely celebrated in China, it's not. But if you are in Shanghai or Beijing, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, any of the big cities, Chongqing, like that, they will have Halloween parties set up.
In a certain area.
Yes, set up in those those areas where they have foreign bars and stuff, right? And they'll have themed parties.
And people have a good time.
Yeah, no, it can be a blast. I remember it happening in Shenzhen, but it's very localized and very few local people participate, except for in Shanghai.
I
and
will
Beijing.
say this though, I did this thing where we put on a few of the foreigners, invited a lot of the Chinese staff, and we did this like treasure hunting around the city, and like so it was across the whole city. So you had to like find certain things. Go to a restaurant. We prepped ahead of time, so the restaurant owner would tell this person where to go next.
Oh, that's cool.
You had to do certain challenges like eat like raw shrimp or something, crazy stuff like that. And it was so much fun, and we did it in costume. It was a really good time. So people are on board.
Yes.
The Chinese government does not like Halloween.
No, they've been trying to stamp it out. And I remember specifically, when I was first starting out in China and I was teaching kids, of course, all the training centers and kindergartens and stuff would all, like around the Halloween time, it would be something they would do. Like there would be activities around that.
Because it's foreign culture or whatever.
And it's something fun to do with the kids, of course, right? But as things changed recently, they've started to really stamp out any kind of foreign festivals or celebrations. And so these Halloween parties in a lot of the schools are not allowed anymore. They've been banned. So it sucks.
Yeah.
Anyway, here in Shanghai, we had a couple of people really kind of pushing the limits.
Yeah, which was pretty fun.
Like this dude wearing the Winnie the Pooh.
I like the next photo, what I thought was great. It's like, it looks like they're sacrificing Winnie the Pooh into like a demon god's mouth.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's pretty epic. So it was nice to see a couple of those things spotted.
Yeah.
This was incredible. Look at this.
Yeah, I think it looks really cool because you've got Batman in front of the cops, but it also just shows you all these cops.
I mean, I think it's dystopian is why it's cool. Like I said, it's not dystopia can look cool.
Yeah, they are there to like
they are there
make
to make
sure everyone's orderly.
Like how cool is that?
Yeah.
But the cops are there to like stop anything. And the Batman's just like, he's like, I'm going to go for it.
Well, don't forget there was that horrible stampede last time.
Yeah.
People died, right?
Yeah, that was in Korea.
Yeah, exactly. But they learned from that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Anyway, what do you got here?
I wanted to show some things that slipped under the radar. There are some things that slipped under this stuff. You're ripping too fast, dude.
Yeah, sorry.
We had some secret furries that managed to make it through.
Okay.
We had a couple of these costumes, these inappropriate costumes that managed to sneak through, but some people were not so lucky.
Yeah, this is the thing, okay? China's heavily censored, and we figured something else, by the way. So let's take a look. You've got this woman wearing an inflatable penis costume. Yes. Okay? So
we'll leave it up to the imagination.
Yeah. 美女你是什么? She's like, hey, pretty girl, what are you? Jiba, which means penis in Chinese. Right. That's what the shills suck a lot of. Anyway,
the government.
Yeah, the government's jiba. We like to say that. Anyway, that didn't end up so well for her. She got arrested.
What does that meme go back to? I want to play that again. What is that meme? It's like how
it started, how it's going. Yeah, how it started. Yeah, how it's going. Now,
yikes.
Of course, China's...
Tripping balls.
Tripping balls, yeah.
Pause it there. You are like
no, I want to get to the next part. She's arrested. Yeah, but we got to point out the important thing, right?
This could have been prevented.
Yeah.
Because...
last year, 2022, this guy got arrested for wearing a jiba costume, okay?
Yes.
But here's the thing about China is that news like this is censored because it's deemed vulgar or whatever, right? So if this kind of stuff is being censored, you're not allowed to talk about this kind of thing. You know what's going to happen? You're not going to know that you can't wear it.
I think it's a perfect, beautiful analogy. Yeah. This woman who is obviously pushing the limits a little bit, right? You're in China. You're not supposed to be wearing this kind of stuff.
But you're young. Your government's constantly feeding you crap about how free you actually are.
Yeah, and how the rest of the world's not free. So you're like, you know what's kind of funny? Some phallic humor.
Yeah,
pop on this harmless thing.
because you can find that stuff on Taobao.
Easy. But think about this.
Yeah.
She goes out there and she's like, why am I being thrown in jail? Like, I'm being arrested for this
Yeah.
dumbass thing. And
Yeah.
it's because they do take it super seriously. And any point of reference, like you said, has been erased.
Yeah, because like if she'd been able to see that this guy was arrested the previous year,
Yeah.
she wouldn't have worn it.
Of course not,
But
right?
because it's all censored, she doesn't know that it's not okay.
So the Chinese government simultaneously wants everyone in China to think they live in utopia where they can do anything they want.
Yeah.
Then when one person does something that they don't like, they crack down on that person.
Yeah.
But instead of allowing that news to proliferate, to say, listen, we cracked down on this, they
Yeah.
don't let anyone talk about it. They pull all reference of it from the internet. And then people going forward don't know that it's against the law.
Exactly.
And they're too prude to make a law about it to say you can't do that.
That is where the whole ignorance is bliss thing comes into play. And this really plays a massive part in Chinese society.
Yes.
Is most Chinese people believe that the outside world is incredibly dangerous, but China is very safe.
Yes.
Speak to any Chinese person, and that's what they'll say. Like, oh, in America, everyone's being shot with guns,
Right,
and
whatever.
like it's so dangerous everywhere. China's safe, and that's only because they don't hear about the neighbor that was murdered yesterday, or the food poisoning that happened down the road, or the big gas explosion that happened a couple blocks over.
Yeah.
They don't hear about this stuff.
Yeah.
So, of course, it seems like the safest place in the world. Just like every other situation, ignorance is bliss. I use this analogy all the time. But if you lived in a neighborhood and your neighbor was murdered, but you didn't hear about it, you would think you lived in the safest neighborhood in the world.
Sure.
When you've got freedom of press, like you do in America and most developed countries, they focus on these negative things.
Yeah.
Someone gets murdered in your neighborhood, it makes national news, it makes international news if it's in America, right? And then you suddenly worry. You're like, oh, it's dangerous. People died on my street. I got to
Yeah.
be careful. But if you never heard about that neighbor, you'd think you lived in the safest place in the world. And that's this effect that you get in China.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
because they never hear about the negative, bad things.
No.
You know, it's always censored.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. So again, how it went versus
How it started,
how it's
how it's going.
How it's going.
Yeah.
Screwed up the meme, guys.
Yeah.
So don't throw me in the garbage.
这是保护动物。
No port of Dandong. Like throwing a port of Dandong
You got
joke.
Port of Dandong? All right.
That's Dandong.
Port of Dandong.
Yeah, gotcha. All right.
That's Dan's dog right there.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Let's pretend that guy's name is Dan.
Yeah, his name's Dan.
This was my favorite.
Yeah.
I thought this costume was so brave to do in China, but also so poignant and amazing. So for those of you at home, get your hand off the play button.
I'm ready
You
to
are-
skip.
Stop. This is
Okay.
important.
All right,
It's
go
more
for it.
important than the penis costume. Surveillance.
I
He's
agree.
dressed up
That
as a
penis costume is in bad taste.
yeah, but I mean, it shouldn't be illegal, right?
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, the surveillance, the guy's dressed up as a surveillance camera, and he is surrounded by two police officers, one on radio,
Yeah.
ready to pull the trigger if anything happens. And I thought this was great. This guy definitely is going to be on some sort of list
Oh, I'm sure.
post this costume.
Yep.
Obviously, what he's protesting is the fact that there is, I believe, one state surveillance camera for every 7 citizens in China,
Yeah.
which is mind-blowing if you think about it, because there's 1.4 billion people there.
In my mind, it's 7 cameras for every one person.
Yeah, and maybe at
Seriously.
this point, that was from 2021 when I
Yeah,
got
it's really bad.
it. Yeah.
But they never work, so it's okay. At least they never work when it matters.
No, they always work.
Yes.
When the CCP needs to find
Yes,
something.
but
But if
if-
you get anything stolen,
Yep.
it's guaranteed.
Oh, sorry, it didn't work. Yeah.
Alban style.
Yeah, we're wearing the Laoban shirts today.
Oh, she's here.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Oh, she's here. I think you should eat me first, and I'll eat you first.
That sounds terrible. If you eat the fox, then bugs won't bite you.
What?
Now, the weird thing about these Chinese vampires is the way they move around. Jumping corpse! They burn money, fake money. They burn fake houses. They burn fake cars. They create a lot of pollution, basically, for ghosts.
Yep.
She secretly urinated in the monk's bowl.
Ah, yes.
And
as
it-
you do. It's just shocking to think you would let a baby die for like a 90-year-old woman that's already
Yeah,
lived
this
her
90-year-old
life.
woman.
And she's not even related to you.
No, dude, I'd leave her outside in the cold or something, you know? Yeah, that's kind of scary.
Close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs. And if my mind